Alright, hey guys, another video, and today I'm looking at another boom box here. Now this is a JVC model. This is the JVC PC-W150. I stumbled on this guy at Goodwill a couple days ago. I almost didn't pick it up, and I'll tell you why. It almost didn't meet my criteria for what I personally am looking for in a boom box, and what I feel a good retro boom box is. But it was close enough, and it did something very well that most 90% of these boom boxes I find at thrift stores didn't do, and that is it works. Like, completely works. Like the Hitachi I covered last time, the tape decks on it didn't work. This thing works pretty much completely, which I am quickly becoming a fan of JVC. I always knew they were around, but I didn't really take much notice of them as a company or their products, but lately everything I've picked up from them, be it TVs or boom boxes, they just seem to work, and they work well. They seem pretty well made, so JVC is quickly getting a reputation for reliability with me. We'll see if that holds up. So anyways, yeah, I like this old school stuff. I wasn't always into audio stuff, mostly video stuff, monitors, computers, games stuff, but I'm starting to get more into the audio side of things, and I've always loved boom boxes. From the moment I saw Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, and he kicked over the boom box of those punks in Times Square. I don't know. There's just something about boom boxes. And I love the 80s aesthetic for them. Now part of the reason I almost didn't pick this up, because this is very close to what is out of my personal liking. I cannot find when this boombox came out or was made, but I'm going to guess that this is probably like early 90s, and this is almost to the point where I wouldn't be interested in it. Now, the first thing you could tell, like the black casing, that was more of a 90s thing. They were sort of more into like silver in the 80s, although obviously there were black ones. Even some of the most famous boomboxes from the 80s had a black kind of finish, I guess. The thing, it's more rounded. Again, it doesn't have, I like that 80s boxiness, where this one's a little bit more rounded, but it's rounded, but it's not like really rounded like they got like later in the 80s, where like these were just like circles. There's still, I mean, these are pretty much squares. It's just kind of curved, rounded a little bit. It's not like completely round. It's overly big, but it will still fit on your shoulder nicely, which every good boombox should fit on your shoulder. Whereas I said later in the 90s, they kind of they were portable, but they weren't really comfortable to put on your shoulder. Also, there's no CD player in these, and that's what I prefer. I just want a pure cassette deck. Now, some of those really early CD player ones, where the CD part like is right here on the front as opposed to the top, I might pick one of those up if I see it. But yeah, I don't. If they have a CD player, or if they're like really small, I won't bother with them. But this one kind of hit the notes for me. Cassette deck only. It was big, but it wasn't like too big where it couldn't fit on your shoulder, and it still had some of those 80s aesthetic qualities to it. One thing it doesn't have, it's sort of a no frills player. There isn't a lot of like dials and stuff on it. No lights. I would have really loved to see like a light thing on it, even if it was pointless, like on my Hitachi. I really love all the lights and dials, and this doesn't really have that, but let's just take a closer look at it. Enough me babbling about what I look for in aesthetics. Like I said, it's kind of a no-frills player. What do we have here on the front? We've got two tape decks. This one's fully featured. It has, record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop, eject, pause. This one, the secondary one, it just has play, rewind, fast forward, stop, eject. That is fine. Right here we have a little button for metal or CR02. Those are the better quality tapes. We have the tuner here for the radio, and then we have fine tuning. Now the fine tuning, I believe, is for when you're using shortwave 2 and 1. So this has, the radio on this is FM, shortwave 1, shortwave 2, and AM. The bands we've got here. So super bass horn. I have no idea what that is. And we have our power button here. Now in the middle we have a 5-band graphic equalizer. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. And yeah, I don't really have any idea I don't really mess with those. I'm not really versed enough in audio to know what that stuff really means, but I'm pretty sure that has to do with like balancing and obviously fine-tuning the sound that comes out of it. So we have that, although to be honest, I would have preferred a ridiculous and maybe pointless graphic thing here, like bars that jump up and down. I don't know why, I just love that. You know, or maybe I wish they just would have fit one in somewhere there. So let's take a look on the back of this, and then we'll look at let's look at the top. So here we have the top of the machine. Let me zoom out a little bit, and like I said, here's where you pick your the band, like FM, AM, whatever. Now here we have CD in. So there's no CD player on this, but there's an input on the back, RCA stereo input in the back. I believe that would engage it if it's at the top. They just call it CD in. One down we have tuner, then we have high speed and normal speed, and that's for our tape deck. So let me put it back on here. And then we have a little volume dial here, which feels nice. It's okay. It maybe feels a little bit cheap, but not too bad. And right here we have for headphone in, and then we have the antenna. And let's look at the back here. Bay for our batteries. Here's that left and right stereo RCA CD in, or audio in. Mic jack. And here's something cool here. Now we have speaker wires for these speakers, which I haven't detached them yet, but I'm pretty sure they're detachable. My Hitachi, they're just built in. That's kind of nice because you can either detach them and move them like away more to get more of a surround sound-ish sort of thing, or if one of these completely busts off and breaks, at least you kind of have the option to more easily replace it. And then down here we have the power, which is, it's not, I don't think it's exactly proprietary, but it's not standard either. But I don't think these types of power connectors are too hard to find. So what we're going to do, we're going to, I'm going to put it on to play it, and then we're going to compare it to my Hitachi, which is a lot more sort of 80s styling. All right, so let's try the radio. I'm going to be brief with like songs and go, because I don't want to get hit with copyright marks or whatever. But and these things here, I don't even know if they're functional. I guess I don't know if they're tweeters or not. I think they're just for looks. I don't think these little things are like extra sub speakers. Maybe they are. I'm not sure. So let's turn it on.
At that Chandler Fashion Center. Don't let a scar steal your spotlight.
Sounds pretty nice. I think this is an ad, so I don't think we get hit with a copyright, but let's put the volume up real quick just to show you.
Cost-effective products available. Our unique formulation utilizes patented...
So yeah, I mean, both of the speakers work very well for how old this thing is and finding it at Goodwill.
Trust your scar care to Mederma Advantage. $89.
That'd be cool if we came across like an early 90s tune. But yeah, I mean, it works. Okay, so now we're going to take a quick listen to the tape deck. Now, here's the cool thing. I have with me, and I have a couple of these, I carry them around in my car. This is an actual mixtape that I made in high school in the late 90s. Now you can tell my sort of who I was back then by who's on this thing. We've got we've got some Filter, Tool, Slayer, Fear Factory, Typo Negative, some Metallica, Gravity Kills. Yeah, I was really into, you know, industrial goth heavy metal then. I was an angsty teen, so I didn't record this thing anyway special. I believe this is just a regular, I believe, Type 1 cassette tape. Probably recorded some of these off a CD straight onto cassette. maybe even some off the radio. Now, at the time I made this, the late 90s, obviously there were CD players and CD recordings, but cassette tapes were well on their way out, but it was just easier for me, and it's what I had. It was still a bit of a fuss, in my opinion, to do recordable CDs. Some of my fancier friends did that, but a lot of our cars still had tape decks, so this is what I made mixtapes still. But late 90s, even then maybe it was a little bit outdated. So let's see here what we get. Again, I'm gonna be very quick on this because I don't want to get hit with copyright stuff, but again, the sound quality isn't great because of how I recorded these cassette tapes, but it works. That's full volume, so that's pretty good here. Bonus points if anyone knows what this next song is from the intro. Yeah, that's I was an angsty teen. But anyways, yeah, let's compare this real quick with my Hitachi. Alright, so there we have the JVC from what I believe... Oh, he's got to get in the video. Hey, guy, buddy, move. So, this is the JVC, of course, we've been talking about, which I believe is from the early 90s. Now, here is my 80s-ish boombox. This is the Hitachi. Now, the JVC is a little tiny bit bigger or longer, and this one's slightly taller. But you can tell right away the aesthetic difference. This is far more boxy than the JVC. Far more boxy, which I love. I even like the silver more, the silver finish. But this player doesn't, the radio on this works, but the speaker's blown out. These tape decks are both shot, and not just the belt. I mean, these buttons are screwed up. I do love the volume, or not volume, but the whatever, SPSS, the light thing on the front that's kind of pointless. These switches, too, are so much more satisfying than any of the little switches on the JVC. Like, they don't really make a click, but they're just so much more like, just the tactile feel is so much more satisfying. But, again, this one has something that the Hitachi just doesn't, and that's that it works. Now, that might be more to the credit of the people that owned this previously and how they took care of it than it just being a JVC, but it works. And it kind of barely, like I said, it barely kind of met my standards for what I'm looking for in a boombox. Again, I do prefer something more boxy and with pointless lights and stuff, but it seems like good quality and it seems like it all works. So obviously, if you see one and you're looking for one here for pretty cheap, go ahead and pick one up. They seem like pretty decent boom boxes, and they still fit on your shoulder pretty nice. Now, you probably won't get the if you're going out and break dancing or whatever, you probably won't get the street cred like you would with something a little more old school like this, but it's still a decent boom box. So again, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe. As always, I've got more stuff coming up. Haven't done a computer video in a while, and I have one shot and ready, and it's a long one. It's my longest one yet, if you like those kind of videos. So I might put that one up in a couple weeks. I might put something up before that, though. But again, I appreciate everyone. We are slowly limping our way to 1,000 subscribers, which, in my opinion, for the quality of the channel, it's phenomenal that I might hit 1,000. That's just crazy to me. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your support, and see you next time.